so much for your time here on the India Economic Summit. Great to have you here. You're joining us at a time when we are hoping for some degree of sanity in Parliament. And there is something phenomenal happening in your state. We'll talk about the insanity and sanity in Parliament in just a bit. There's a constitution debate that is currently underway, but as expected, the Rajya Sabha has been adjourned. There's something called Swarna Andhra Pradesh at 2047 that is being inaugurated in Andhra Pradesh today. Could you talk to us about that? Because what it envisions is a roadmap that will lead you, that is the state of Andhra Pradesh, to a 2.4 trillion economy by the end of 2047. That's pretty phenomenal.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. When we come to Swarna Andhra 2047, this is being released none other than Nara Chandrababu Garu, our Chief Minister. He is instrumental in inaugurating Vision 2020 document right in 1990s. When he released that, when he put it forward to the country saying, this is my Vision 2020 for the state and for the nation, everyone said, is it possible? Is it this is how India is going to be. Exactly what is there in the document is being seen right now across India, across Andhra Pradesh. Again, he has come forward, and again he is saying, this is my vision 2047 for Andhra Pradesh. This is how I want Andhra Pradesh to be in the next 20-25 years. And the main components of that is, the first thing and most important thing is, Andhra Pradesh being very much an agrarian state. We want water resources to be utilized properly, make sure that irrigation projects are completed. Every acreage in Andhra Pradesh be irrigated. The second main component is get the agri-tech. Right now, we're talking about everything else, but not adding technology to the agriculture. This is the second thing that he's talking about. And energy, there's so much energy diversity that's happening, hydrogen, renewables that's happening, and Andhra Pradesh is attracting the maximum amount of renewable investments that's happening in the country, and we want it to be nudged even further so that more number of investments will come to Andhra Pradesh. So there are multiple angles to it, and also with regards to education. Education right now we are only measuring at the GER ratio and gross domestic ratio, but we are talking about how we can pivot it so that we measure it at the what skills certain skills that people of Andhra, youth of Andhra are learning. So there are multiple angles to this Vision 2047 document, and also with regards to poverty-free Andhra Pradesh, how we can empower various sections of the society so that they can become entrepreneurial. Every house, he wants an entrepreneur to come out. So these are all the things that, because if you see India right now, maybe 20-25 years back, if you have an idea, if you go forth with the idea, it's very difficult for you to raise money. Even if you raise money, for you to get the permissions and everything, it is very difficult. But right now, the way the entrepreneurs in this country, the startups in this country are growing and running, this is the way, this is what we want to take it forward, and Andhra Pradesh is going to be the first.
Speaking of startups, Andhra Pradesh this year in October, torrential rains, there's massive flooding, 30% of Vijayawada drowns. Your government sends out an SOS to startups of all places, and the response you get is phenomenal, both in terms of scale and in terms of innovation. Tell us what happens after that. You send that SOS, they respond. How does it help you? How do you get, how do you get technology and AI to solve the problem at hand? And this is a current live problem.
Again, this is something that's phenomenal that has happened. If you see any city in this country, actually yesterday in the parliament also, there's a disaster bill that has been passed, keeping this in view. If you see any city in this country right now, if there is torrential rain, the cities are flooded. So you're not able to move. In Delhi is like that, in Chennai, Bangalore, everything is like that. So it's the same thing that has happened in Vijayawada also, where almost 35-40% of the city got submerged. Because of various other reasons, I don't want to go into that, because of last 5 years, there's no irrigation canals that have been renovated or refurbished. I don't want to go into that, but that's the reason that has happened. But once it has happened, once he realized, our Chief Minister Chandrababu Garu has realized that something is amiss, so that people of Vijayawada are struggling, he just sent a SOS saying, entrepreneurs, startups, come over here, how you can involve in this, how you can solve this. The first people that have come on board are the ones that are working on the drones. They come on board and said, sir, for all the supplies that can be delivered, yes, all the streets are flooded. There's no way that your vehicles that can transport any of these supplies. Let's use drones and let's see how we can supply that. Second is using the AI and other data that we can capture. We are able to capture which are the areas that are submerged and which are the areas that our relief activities are being delivered and which are the areas that is not being delivered, how it can be delivered. So it gave us a much more coordinated way of acting on it. And I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. Going forward with the amount of images that our satellites are generating, with the amount of data that we are collecting from each household, it's going to be phenomenal looking forward in the next 20-25 years, how easily that we can mitigate these kind of disasters in the future, not just in Vijayawada, but across the country.
Can we now shift our focus to Parliament, because you're also the floor leader of the TDP in the Lok Sabha. I believe, and the latest reports we are getting is that the constitution debate is underway in the Lok Sabha. So the Lok Sabha has not been adjourned, but the Rajya Sabha has been adjourned again. I want to ask you, why is it that the TDP, as an ally, is so kind to the BJP? I ask you this question in the context of the fact that the Congress is being beaten black and blue by its allies, the TMC, etc., for disrupting Parliament. They are saying it is not just the BJP, it is the Congress that is disrupting Parliament as well. And this has now happened for a third straight week. And a lot of taxpayers' money is going to waste, which is what bothers us. I want to ask you, why are you so kind to the BJP, not coming out publicly and saying who you think is to blame for these disruptions?
It's not being too kind to the BJP or not being kind. It's like we are in the government with a BJP, and the reason is very clear. Our Chief Minister has very clearly mentioned. We've gone with the election with them. And after the election, a lot of even in your news channel also, a lot of stories that have been run, who is going to form the government and everything. But our Chief Minister has come on board and said, NDA is going to form the government and TDP is in the NDA and we form the government. That's when, if you see the stocks and everything that has gone up, until then, everything was in lull. So the reason being why we are in support, why we are very much vehemently behind BJP to be stronger and NDA to be stronger is the main reason is we want the country to be stronger, have that with the Prime Minister having that vision, we want him to execute the things that he's having the ideas to execute, and it needs a stronger government at the center. Unless we have a stronger government at the center, if we waver, it's going to reflect upon the states as well. So, and a lot of people have come up and asked, how are you bargaining with the BJP? And the Chief Minister has clearly told us, we are going to be here with respect. We have mutual respect. We're going to respect them, and we're going to support them. And we expect them to be, respect us and support us in the development of Andhra Pradesh. So, that's how our relations has been, and that's how our relations is going to be in the next 4.5 years. But at the same time, with regards to the disruptions in the Parliament, the states that are really suffering are states like Andhra Pradesh, wherein we are here to discuss the issues that are related to our states, the funds that are supposed to be released to our states, the projects that are to be pushed forward in our states. These are the states that are really suffering if the Parliament is disrupted. So we want the Parliament to function. We want the debates to happen. We want the issues to be discussed.
Who do you think is to blame for these disruptions? Because when, as a common citizen, I look at what is happening on television in both houses of Parliament, I feel that both are to blame. If one brings one subject, the other brings the other subject, and then there is, as a parliamentarian and as a young parliamentarian who's in Parliament every day, what do you feel? What's your analysis?
The analysis being, this whole session, if you analyze it, there is a coordinated, disruption that has been happening. The report that has been released just 2 days before the start of the session. It's the same thing that has happened in the previous session also, in a few other sessions also. So it's clearly saying that the disruption is not being done by the opposition, but someone behind the opposition. Not by the Congress, not just by the Congress, but someone is running Congress from outside. So it is, how can some report come out 1 or 2 days before the start of the session? So they just want the session not to be conducted in a way that that is conducive for all the members in the parliament. And I think citizens of this country should actually sit and analyze why this is happening and what is the reasons behind it and who is at loss.
As parliament session for a reason. And that foreign hand, of course, being Soros.
If it happens once, I can understand, but it's happening repeatedly, then obviously I have to say that we all has to conclude that something else is behind this disruption, not just the opposition. There's someone else is running the opposition.
Okay, so thankfully, as I said, the constitution debate currently peacefully being held in the Lok Sabha. The Congress party has, of course, argued that the constitution is in danger. What do you make of the debate? I mean, it's the only debate that Parliament is happening, that is happening in Parliament in 3 weeks. So we should pay some attention to it.
When it comes to Constitution, and when Congress starts saying Constitution's in danger, I don't know about other states, representatives, parliamentarians of the other states, what they think and how can they portray it. But coming from Andhra Pradesh, which has been partitioned, when in 2014. Our state has been divided into two, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. People from Andhra Pradesh and majority in the assembly in Andhra Pradesh, United Andhra Pradesh, clearly gave a mandate that we don't want division of Andhra Pradesh. Still, Congress went ahead when they were in power in 2013. They went ahead and divided state of Andhra Pradesh. And when you divide state of Andhra Pradesh, any state, you give resources equally. But we were done severe injustice. All the resources were given to Telangana, all the industry was given to Telangana, all the institutions were given to Telangana. We are left with nothing. And the bill was, you all must have seen how the bill was passed in Parliament also, the division of Andhra Pradesh. When it came to Parliament, obviously you go for a vote, you count the number of people that are in favor of it or against it. But it was done in such an undemocratic way, unconstitutional way, where number of parliamentarians from Andhra Pradesh and various parties were excluded, were debarred from entering into parliament, were sent out of the parliament, and the vote was conducted not by physical way, but more with the word of mouth. That was done. Even now, if you ask how many votes were against and how many votes were in favor of division of Andhra Pradesh in parliament, no one knows.
Okay, you're saying it's hypocrisy.
It's hypocrisy.
Them saying that the constitution is in danger. Mr. Lavu, Shri Krishna, began by saying that we are firmly behind the BJP government, firmly behind Prime Minister Modi, because this country needs a stable government for growth, and I agree with you there. Do you then also agree with them on the entire Waqf board debate that is happening right now? Your main opposition in the state has already put you in a spot by saying that they are going to oppose the Waqf board bill. Now, Mr. Naidu is often heard saying that, if one eye is Hindu, then the other eye is Muslim. My point is, do you have a clear idea on how you are going to navigate this tricky minefield?
If you have observed what happened in the parliament, TDP is the party, and our member got up when given the opportunity, clearly, boldly said, let's send Waqf amendment bill to joint parliamentary committee.
Arey baapre, in joint parliament committee, only fury and fire, nothing else is happening there.
There's enough discussion that is happening there. There are enough witnesses that are coming, not just from a few states, but across the country, the witnesses are coming. And number of boards are also coming, Muslim boards are also coming, presenting their issues there. Our request is, our word to the Muslim communities, we want their point of view to be taken, and we want them to be respected, the whole community to be respected. The Waqf amendment, obviously it has been done. This is not the first time it is being done. It's almost done 5-6 times after the independence. This is not something new that is happening. But when we're doing it, let's respect the community's viewpoints and take them on board and make sure that their viewpoints are also incorporated in the Waqf amendment bill.
At no point do I believe that the Jamaat-e-Ulema is the spokesperson of the Indian Muslim. But this is what they are saying. They are saying, look, this has to do with Muslims. And therefore, anyone who is consulted in the process needs to be a Muslim, either an individual or a board or an institution. A, I want to ask you whether you agree with that. Secondly, the Jamaat is also saying that if this bill is passed, then the crutches of the government, which is Mr. Naidu and which is Mr. Nitish Kumar, will have to bear the responsibility as well. Do you see that as a threat?
I don't see it as a threat, per se. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, Muslim community's views have to be taken into consideration. But work amendment bill and work per se not just affects one community. When the land
Correct.
is being taken for work, there are so many contentious issues where other communities have also come forward. Even in our JPC, which I was a member, there are a lot of witnesses who have come forward, not just Muslim community, but other communities also expressed in favor and at the same time expressed their grievances also in the JPC, saying certain properties which are taken on board by work has not been done in that state in a completely transparent manner. So we cannot just restrict when we're talking about work to only one community. We have to take into consideration of Muslim communities' viewpoints. At the same time, whoever is getting affected, which is a lot of other communities as well, let them come on board, let them give their viewpoints. We're in a country, India, we take opinions from every quarter, so every source possible.
But the opposition says, "Humse opinion nahi lete." I want to ask you, within the JPC, since you're a member, now the impression all of us have is, if it's the Waqf JPC, there'll be blood and gore in it. Is that how things work? Because we've seen things get pretty ugly in there. Is that how every meeting is held, or is there some peace, quiet, and mindful discussion as well?
Obviously, there's a very deep discussion that's happening, and there are eminent people that have come on board and put their viewpoints in the JPC. And obviously, there is a lot of noise that happens. When there's noise only, you have to take into account that there is something actually happening.
No, so, when there is noise, there is no debate. It's a bit like a TV show, right? Lots of noise, but maybe there is no actual substantial debate.
Luckily, any standing committee, any JPC meetings, they are not being televised. So we don't talk or we don't make our points only for the TRPs, but we ought to share on our WhatsApp groups. But actually, we make our points when we are sitting in the JPC or any standing committees to make sure that their viewpoints, the community's viewpoints, or affected people's viewpoints are put on board. So don't take it, just because there's a lot of voice that is happening, don't take it that there's no work happening. There's enough work happening. There's, if you see the attendance and the participation from various parties in the JPC, it's tremendous. The amount of time that they're spending there. Almost every week we sat for two days. Imagine when the parliament session is not on, every week there are members coming across the country, coming here, spending the 2 days time here and listening to various witnesses. This is never heard of, never seen of. So don't just go by the one or two breaking news that you see, but actual work is actually happening on the ground.
Okay, so which means that you want reforms in the Waqf board and you'll back the government. You said Muslims need to be respected in the process, but you'll back the government as far as the Waqf bill is concerned.
As I can paraphrase again, we want work amendment bill when it's being taken into consideration, the Muslims' viewpoint, minorities' viewpoint to be taken into consideration, and they are respected equally, and their viewpoint is respected equally, and taken it on board. That's the first thing. Second thing is, Waqf amendment bill is not getting amended or not getting passed for the first time. This has been done for the last, after the independence, almost 5-6 times. This is not something new. There is a law that is amended. There are a lot of laws that is getting amended continuously because we want to better that.
One nation, one poll. Is the TDP completely on board with the government's idea of one nation, one poll?
If you ask anyone from Andhra Pradesh, we are going through one nation, one election for the last 5-10 elections. Because our assembly election or a parliament election happens at the same time. So you're asking the wrong person. Because every election we face, assembly and parliament elections happens at the same time. Only the local body elections doesn't happen. So we don't mind.
Lavu, Shri, Krishna, thank you so much for your time here on the India Economic Conclave. Great to have this conversation.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.